them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will strain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore mine own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in mine anger, and make them drink in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth. That's futuristic. God's going to come down. He's going to tread the wine press alone. Because we don't have to fight a battle. Because God will fight our battles for us. And that is the judgments of prophecy in the book of Isaiah. Some has happened, some has not. You know, and you look at this now. This was written. I mean, he was prophesying in around 740 BC. Okay, and Babylon came like 200 years after he had prophesied it, and took over the Jerusalem. You know, and the things that hasn't happened is, you know, the Lord coming and all that, but we'll get into that next. But, you know, that's 200 years before it even happened. So this is another reason why I believe the Bible is real. And I believe God is real, because, you know, prophesying something and it not happened, and then, you know, it's happening here. So if that happened about the Babylonian captivity, why wouldn't Christ's return happen also? If this is a fulfilled prophecy and it was fulfilled. I mean, that just gives me more faith to believe that Christ is real and what he did was real. And we're going to get to the blessings now. To the redemption. Okay, now a lot of this is the descriptions of God. You know, it's proof of what he saw. Chapter 1, verse 26. I'm going to tell you the verses that I read them. This is the redemptions and blessings. Chapter 1, verse 26 says, And I will restore thy judges as at the first, and thy counselors as at the beginning. Afterward thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. See, that is going to be in the end time. In the end, when Christ returns. And you think about that now. The first of this chapter is talking about reasoning together, and then being taken out in captivity. And then all of a sudden it's talking about restoring at the end. So that's why I had to do this as two different tops rather than go through the whole book, because it'd be too hard to understand. So in the end, he will restore Jerusalem, and it'll be a faithful city. Chapter 2, verse 2 says, And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow into it. Again, God will dwell in Jerusalem, and all the nations of the world will flow to it to pay homage to him and to lift him up. Verse 10. This is the God's glory. Enter into the rock and hide thee in the dust, for the fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty. The lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. Go into the clefts of the rocks, and into the tops of the ragged rocks, for the fear of the Lord, for the glory of his majesty, when he ariseth to shake terribly the earth. His power and glory is so strong the earth will tremble. When the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall purge the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof, by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning. And this is chapter 6. That's chapter 4. He's going to purge their sin, and they're going to be clean forever. This is a good illustration of Christ, of God. It says, In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting upon the throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphims, which are angels. Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. And one cried unto another, and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. And the posts of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. Then said I, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of the people of unclean lips, for mine eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, saying, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar, and he laid it upon my mouth, and said, Lo, this hath touched thy lips, and thine iniquity is taken away, and thy sin purged. So that's a good description of God and his glory. Let's see. Now this here gets me. Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel. For before the child shall know to refuse the evil and to choose the good, the land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings. So this here is prophesied like 700 years before Christ was even thought of or born. This is a prophecy of Christ's birth. Another reason why I believe the Bible is real. Chapter 9, verse 6 and 7, it says, For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no more end, but there shall be no end upon the throne of David, upon his kingdom, to order it, and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. This is futuristic about what's going to happen in our future. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and the branch shall grow out of his roots. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, and the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. That's Christ. It says, Cry out, thou inhabitants of Zion, for great is the Holy One of Israel in the midst of thee. That's another one. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. That's another one. We're all going to be there. Let me skip over a little more. They shall lift up their voices, and they shall sing for the majesty of the Lord. They shall cry aloud from the sea. Everyone's going to follow the Lord when he purges the earth and he comes back to rule. The earth will tremble, and he will be glorious and victorious. He will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all the people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. He will swallow up death in victory, and the Lord God will wipe away the tears from all the faces, and the rebukes of his people shall he take away from off all the earth, for the Lord hath spoken it. And it shall be said in that day, Lo, this is our God. We have waited for him. He will save us. This is the Lord. We have waited for him. We'll be glad and rejoice in his salvation. See, instead of trying to figure out what the future holds and what's going to happen with this and that, just wait on God. We don't have to hurt our brains trying to think of what the future holds and how it's going to happen and stuff. We just got to wait on Him and trust in Him. 26. It says, "Open ye the gates, that the righteous nation which keepeth the truth may enter in. Trust ye in the Lord forever, for in the Lord Jehovah is everlasting strength." Yea, in the way of thy judgments, O Lord, have we waited for thee. The desire of our soul is to thy name, and to the remembrance of thee. This is what gets me. Thy dead men shall live, together with my dead body shall they arise. Awake and sing, ye that dwell in the dust, for thy dew is as the dew of herbs, and the earth shall cast out the dead. So all of our ancestors that trusted God, and all of our friends that we've lost, our siblings we've lost, we're all going to be together as one that trust the Lord. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity, and the earth shall disclose her blood, and there shall be no more cover her slain. In that day, with his sore and great strong sword, shall punish the Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even the Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. God's going to destroy all of his enemies. Let's see here. Behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment. And a man shall be as an hiding place from the wind, and coverts from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. The eyes of them that shall not be dim, the ears of them that shall hearken, the heart also of the rash shall understand knowledge, and the tongue of a stammerers shall be ready to speak plainly. The vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. He's going to make everything perfect. Okay. Say to them that are fearful of heart, be strong, fear not, behold, your God will come with vengeance, even God with a recompense, he will come and save you. The eyes of the blind shall be opened, the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. Then shall the lame man leap as a hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break out, and streams in the desert. And the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water. The inhabitants of the dragons, where each lay, shall be grass with reeds and rushes. And a highway shall be there, and a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those, the wayfaring men, though fools shall not err therein. No lion shall be there, no ravenous beast shall go up thereon. It shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there. And the ransomed of the Lord shall return, and come to Zion, sing with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. That's another thing of the future that's going to happen. We will have no more stress and no more heartache. For if we're ransomed by God, covered in his blood, will obtain joy. And the sighing shall flee away from us in sorrow. Okay. He shall feed his flock like a shepherd. He shall gather the lambs with his arms, and shall carry them in his bosom, and shall gently lead those that are with young. He's going to be our shepherd. Who hath measured the waters in the hollow of his hand? Who hath meted out heaven with a span, and comprehended the dust of the earth in measure, and weighed the mountains in scales, and the hills in a balance? This is God. All nations before him are as nothing. They are counted to him less than nothing, and vanity. God is everything. We are nothing. Hast thou not known, hast thou not heard, that the everlasting God, the Lord, the Creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary? There is no searching of his understanding. We can't comprehend the thoughts of God, much less his understanding. It says, For I, the Lord thy God, will hold thy right hand, saying unto thee, Fear not, I will help thee. Fear not, thou worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel, I will help thee, saith the Lord, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. So he won't only help Israel, but he'll help us if we trust in him. It says, I, even I, am he that blotteth out thy transgressions for mine own sake, and will not remember thy sins. He's going to blot out Israel's trespasses toward him, and the way they turned from him. He says, Thus saith the Lord, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer, the Lord of hosts, I am the first, I am the last, and beside me there is no God. He is everything. It says, Remember these, O Jacob and Israel, for thou art my servant. I have formed thee. Thou art my servant, O Israel. Thou shalt not be forgotten of me. I have blotted out as a thick cloud thy transgression, and as a thick cloud thy sins. Return unto me, for I have redeemed thee. Sing, O ye heavens, the Lord hath done it. Shout, ye lower parts of the earth, break forth into singing, ye mountains, O forest, and every tree therein. For the Lord hath redeemed Jacob, and glorified himself in Israel. Thus saith the Lord, thy Redeemer, and he that formed thee from the womb. I am the Lord that maketh all things, that stretcheth forth the heavens alone, that spreadeth abroad the earth by myself. See, this his power, his love towards Israel, and he's going to redeem them, and he did it twofold. So he redeemed them from the captivity through Cyrus, the king of Persia, when they was carried into captivity to Babylon, where Ezra went and rebuilt the temple, and Nehemiah built the city, the walls of Jerusalem. And there's only a remnant of them that returned. You see, and now, they're there, they're surrounded by all their enemies. But yet there's still so many that's out abroad in the earth. They're going to return to their land, to their inheritance, which was promised to them. He says, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. So he creates peace and evil. He makes nations. And once again, I still, people think America's the top dog, and it's not. People think, God created us and he's going to use us for good. How do you know? He brought us up. He can bring us down. You look at the government. There's no biblical principles in the government these days. They forsaken that a long time ago. And, the future of America is grim. And it is. Then he says, For thus saith the Lord that created the heavens, God himself that formed the earth and made it, for he hath established it. He created it not in vain, he formed it to be inhabited. I am the Lord, and there is none else. He formed it to be inhabited forever. It's forever, the earth. He may make a new one. I don't know. It says something about making a new heaven and a new earth. But the earth is made to be inhabited, and God made it himself. He is powerful. Okay, where am I at here? He says, they shall not hunger nor thirst, neither shall the heat nor sun smite them, for he that hath mercy on them shall lead them, even by the spring of water shall he guide them. And I will make all my mountains a way, and my highways shall be exalted. Behold, these shall come from far, and lo, these from the north and from the west, and these from the land of Sinim. Sing, O heavens, and be joyful, O earth, and break forth into singing, O mountains, for the Lord hath comforted his people, and will have mercy upon his afflicted. But Zion, saith the Lord, hath forsaken me, and my Lord hath forgotten me. Can a woman forget her suckling child, that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb? Yea, they may forget, yet I will not forget